My name is Jordana, and you're watching Consequence.
Hello, I am here today with Jordana, who is Consequence's May Artist of the Month. We're so psyched that you're here, Jordana. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, your first full-length studio album, Face the Wall, is coming out on May 20th. How is it all feeling right now? We're a few weeks away from the release.
It's feeling great. I'm really excited to have this music out and whatever else I'm just like, I'm excited for this.
You're buzzing.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I'm trying new things and I'm excited for people to finally hear them. Like
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Yeah, so already, take me a little bit on the journey of making this album and kind of how it was a little bit different this time around than your previous releases.
This one is like my full studio album, like my first full studio album. But for the Summer's Over EP, it was just Brad from TV Girl and I just kind of like sitting in Los Angeles and making these beats and home recording and stuff, and we got to like finish it before we all went on tour. So that was more of like I wouldn't necessarily say like fully DIY, but that's kind of like how he does things. So it's nice to go back to that from my first like home recording record. This one's been a long time coming kind of, because we have some tracks from when I had recorded my double EP, Something to Say to You, with Jeff Melvin. Mm-hmm. And I had like started a few tracks with him that we ended up like using for Face the Wall. It's like a mixture of those things, but carefully crafted and combined into this one thing with, I was producing with Cameron Hale, and it was mostly like in LA. So that was different, like going to somebody's like studio in LA, just like work for like 2 weeks straight sometimes, and then but it's really cool.
Were you maybe a little bit intimidated when you were kind of going into the studio? You had those 2 weeks scheduled, and this is a little bit more of like a ambitious album for you. Were you a little intimidated when you started working with Cameron?
Yeah, because like when I first met him, we met over like a FaceTime call because we were going to start working with each other on Zoom, because I was in Kansas and I was like about to move to New York. I don't really know like what a person is like over Zoom.
Yeah,
so
it's different.
I was pretty intimidated because I was like, this dude seems like really like super professional, and I'm just like, I don't know. I hope that I can kind of, I'm not necessarily like impress anybody, but just be good enough. But we ended up like hitting it off musically. Yeah, I love working with Cam.
That's awesome. That's so cool. And like even down to the production and a lot of the songwriting, it definitely feels, like I said, more ambitious than some of your previous works. And there's a lot of thought and a deliberation on your part over how you want to present yourself with this album. So what were some of the ideas that went behind some of these more ambitious, a little more sonically advanced choices that you made on Face the Wall?
It's like self-growth bops.
Yeah, I love that.
We
all need those. We all need them.
I mean, a couple of tracks are like kind of sad sounding, I guess, but I want to try to branch out different genres for what I'm doing. I want some variety, and even some songs that I like recently came to the realization of like, this like I can be who I want to be. Like I can become the person, like the best version of myself. And I'm like, all I have to do is just get up off my ass, like fucking, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really, it's kind of like a broad sort of thing, but that's mostly what some of the songs are about. Like,
so even with some of the singles that you released, especially Catch My Drift, I was reading that there was a little bit of like Warped Tour sort of influence there, and a little bit more of a pop punk kind of energy, which is definitely coming across amazing. It's very vibrant, and yeah, I'm just kind of curious if like you went to Warped Tour in your adolescence, or if there is specific bands in that era or that scene that maybe influenced either that particular song or really other songs on the album.
I actually did not go to Warped Tour. I was not a Warped Tour kid. I'm not a poser. Like, like, kind of, but like, I don't go around just like Black Film Bride. No.
Yeah.
No, like My Chemical Romance. Like,
yeah.
I never had a scene phase or anything. Because I was too busy, like, in my Strokes phase.
Ooh.
Like,
I
yeah,
see.
So
that's a scene of its own, sort of.
But yeah. I guess that song was mostly musically Cure inspired. Because like Cam and I were like, let's make something that's like beachy, sort of feel good, but also nostalgic. Like let's start out with like a little Cure guitar tone, like and yeah, that's for that one. And
I love that. So one of the things that did stick out to me, also when reading about your bio and your journey up until this point, is reading that, like you had said, you are a big Strokes fan, and you had a Strokes fan page. Am I correct?
God damn it! Why does this
I have to. This may come up all the time, but I have to ask: what was your Strokes fan page like?
Oh God, I feel like. Oh my God! If somebody from there sees this, I apologize.
From the Strokes
so
sees
sorry.
this?
Yeah, or anybody involved with them. Yeah, I did. I actually still do have the account. I'm not active on it.
You're not active on it,
but I have. I'm pretty sure I can find a way to get in. I don't really remember the password, but yeah, I would just like find these. Oh no, this is so creepy. Wait, okay, but listen to me, okay? I can explain. I'm a Gen Z. I got into them when I was like 13 or 14. So, of course, I, as a 13 or 14-year-old girl, obsessed with a band, I'm gonna go on Tumblr and deep dive their tour photos. Like, I'm gonna do that.
Love
like,
it. Of course.
This is just me explaining, like, explaining myself to you and to you.
Yes.
Like, but yeah, you know what? I'll drop the username. It's private anyway.
Ooh, okay.
It's at Thanksgiving Leftovers.
Thanksgiving
I named
Leftovers.
it Thanksgiving Leftovers. I don't know why. Anyway, I would like, post like, I wasn't alone in this.
No, of course not. They're a huge band.
I swear. I'm not weird. Well, I mean, I guess that is still weird. But yeah, I would like go on Tumblr, and my Tumblr username was the Strokes Arctic Weekend.
Wow. Right on the nose right there. Fully on the nose. I love it.
So cringe. I can't. But yeah, like, and on their birthday, I'd like make a birthday post for them, and I like put like little party hats on them or something from Pixar. Like, oh God. But yeah, that's what that was like. Who knows? Maybe I'll log in.
Yeah, check it out.
In.
Things have changed for the Strokes since then, I'm sure. So I do want to ask you, what are you going to do when the very real possibility that you are asked to open for the Strokes? What is going to go through your mind when that happens?
I would shit myself and cry out of happiness.
Out of happiness, of course.
Out of happiness and also pure shock that I could still land a gig like that after what I just said.
Amazing. Well, I want to go back to some of the other things about you, but since we are kind of on the topic of live shows and opening, I see that you are about to go on tour with Wallows, which is going to be super fun. So your last tour was back in 2021 with TV Girl, correct?
Yeah.
So you haven't really been on tour for a while, and certainly as we've kind of come out of this post-pandemic-ish space, touring has definitely been a little bit different. So what are you looking forward to the most about going back on tour, and especially with Wallows, who they look like a really fun group of guys?
Yeah, it's going to be like a whole new experience even just going on the road with a band, like my own band right now. So like I'm even trying to come to terms with that, because like for the TV Girl tour I did it solo, and I was opening for them solo and also playing in their band, so I was like kind of in a band too, but this time it's gonna be like my own band who are playing my songs with me, which is crazy. Like sometimes I just think about that. I just sit there and like these people like learned my songs and they're like gonna play them with me. That's weird. Like whoa. But I'm excited to see these venues too. Like they're pretty big.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see you go out on tour after tour. It's going to be very exciting. But it is really interesting that a lot of the music that you released, with the exception of that split EP with TV Girl, or not split EP, but the EP with TV Girl last year, a lot of the music you did release was over 2020 and kind of throughout this lockdown period. So you had all this music out, but kind of no way to really tour it.
Yeah.
So what was it like kind of being a rising musician in that really uncertain period?
Yeah, that was really weird. Like 2020 was weird itself at the beginning when everything came out. Especially with the tour being postponed to like the end of 2021.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I really haven't had that much experience playing shows in a while, so I'm like kind of scared, but I was like just focusing on recording aspects of it pretty much. Yeah.
Well, luckily you get to go out and play tons of shows now. So I am also a little bit curious, reading a lot about you and how you apparently when you were 13 years old, you started busking on the boardwalk in your Maryland hometown, correct?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious about that, busking. How long did you do it for? Were you alone? Did you go with other musicians? What was kind of the impetus to just kind of pick up and play?
That's so crazy. Like I haven't thought about that in a while. It was every other Friday, I think, maybe, that I would just like go down to the, like, I guess it was the North Beach or Chesapeake Beach like boardwalk.
Yeah.
And I would bring my violin, pick a corner, like pick a spot. It was always like packed there for some reason. Like, well, I mean, the vendors were like fire, but yeah. So I had a couple friends that I went to school with, who also like would go to the boardwalk and busk and stuff. My friend Anna, who taught me how to play guitar. Shout out Anna McAuliffe. You're the homie. You're sick. And she was like, yeah, you should like go down to the boardwalk, and we'd have other people sometimes who would get there before our spot.
Take your spot.
But then we just like play with them.
I love that.
So, like,
I love that.
And that was cool, because it's just, I guess, unity that, I don't know, I haven't like really gotten the chance to do that in a while. So
would you ever busk with guitar, or was that a little bit later in your sort of evolution?
Yeah.
What kind of stuff would you play?
So for my violin days, this is another obsession I had, was Lindsey Stirling.
Oh, well, she's the violin queen.
No, dude, like, you do not get it. Like, I was obsessed with her. Like, my mom made me a binder of the sheet music. I wanted every song on sheet music. I was like, give me this shit, buy it online. Like, I want to play it, because I would just like play violin all the time. It was like my first instrument. So I would just obsessively just like play these Lindsey Stirling songs like in public. Yeah, for that was for violin, but for like guitar and I guess ukulele, stuff like that. It was a lot of Dodie, and sometimes I'd put some Jake Bugg songs in there. And you know Jake Bugg?
Yeah, I like Jake Bugg.
Oh
Jake
my God,
Bugg, as he likes to say.
Jake Bugg.
Yeah, because his accent's so thick. I love Jake Bugg.
Oh, I was obsessed with him too. Like he's cool, and like Shaky Graves, stuff like that.
Very cool. Yeah,
I love Shaky Graves. Ugh.
But you started busking around 13 years old, correct?
Yeah.
So my question is, what would you say to your 13-year-old self? Like, what advice would you give, knowing where you've gone now?
I don't even necessarily say I'd give myself advice. I'd just be like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, go do that. Like, don't lose that passion. Like, that's cool.
I love that.
I'm like, I am too anxious to just even do that right now. So, fuck yeah, Jordana. Like, get it. Like,
love it. You know, now you've really got such an evolved musical output, especially with Face the Wall. So is there an artist, perhaps, or maybe multiple artists or a band that you'd really like to emulate your career off of?
along with the Strokes, some other bands that were very heavy in my listening experience were Grizzly Bear.
Ooh, yeah.
I love Grizzly Bear so much. I mean, Arctic Monkeys, I grew up listening to them too, duh. Like, those are like the top three. I was really big into Vampire Weekend too, and dude, Haim is cool. Like, that album was really good too. Women in Music. Yeah, I guess I wanna be as cool as them, honestly. Like,
well, luckily you are also already in that department. I think everything you've released is very cool. So don't worry, you're already on the right track. After you put out this album and you go on tour, what's kind of the next move for you? Are you really looking to maybe chill out a little bit before you go back into the studio? Or are you one of those people who just writes, records?
I'm like recording stuff right now. Like,
yeah,
you know, because like, what else am I gonna do, I guess, kind of when I'm waiting to go on tour. So I don't really know what I'm doing next year, but I guess if I'm not like dead from exhaustion like at the end of this year, then I'll probably just keep touring and recording and just doing shit. Just,
love it.
You know,
keep it going.
Like,
keep it going.
There's much to write about too. Like, there will be after this tour too.
That's true. Is there anything that you're maybe hoping people take away from Face the Wall?
I really hope that people can just interpret things in their own way. Honestly, that's what I hope with pretty much all of my music. I mean, of course I have like these songs where there's, you know, specific sort of insinuation to a topic, like a certain topic, like,
yeah,
you know, it's not like super vague, but yeah, I hope that I can, I guess, relate to people, but also I hope that they can perceive it in, I guess, different ways, because there's some things on there that I perceive multiple ways, but it's mostly like self-growth.
Yeah.
if we're gonna like put it on there, label it, but it can sound like anything that you think.